Hello everyone, welcome to Math Express. We train and learn. Today we shall together explore more on object-oriented programming fundamentals. Let's get started. In today's agenda, we shall see polymorphism concepts. Polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means forms. Polymorphism means able to make more than one form. This feature enables classes to provide different implementation of methods having same name. If you look at this example, we have a base class called shape. We have a derived classes triangle, square, circle, which are derived from base class. Every class has same method name. However, implementation could be different within each class, isn't it? By definition, the function or method have same name, but implementation probably different in each class. This is also known as polymorphism. Draw as a shape in general, right? This is a generic class known as a superclass, also known as a base class. Triangle, square, circle are more specific specialized classes derived from base class. When you say draw a shape, it draws a triangle. When we say draw a square, means it draws a square. Similarly, a circle, right? In the main program, you created a objects for each class, base class and derived classes. And then we are trying to access a same method using specific objects. What we see in the output, we are getting implementation of that particular object is printed on the console, right? This is the one of the simple example to understand concept of polymorphism. Types of polymorphism. We have two ways to define a polymorphism: compile time and runtime. Compile time polymorphism is known as a overloading concept. Function overloading, operator overloading are compile time polymorphism, whereas overriding is a runtime polymorphism. In C++, we have virtual functions which are runtime polymorphism. Method overloading, also known as a static polymorphism. Writing multiple methods with the same name but a different set of parameters, or passing order of those parameters so that appropriate method gets invoked based on parameters passed, is known as method overloading. Method overriding, also known as dynamic polymorphism. A child class implements a method that is already present in parent class, resulting in the child method being invoked. Let's look at dynamic binding in short. Binding means linking. It is linking of a function definition to a function call. If linking of a function call to a function definition, that is a place where control has to be transferred is done at compile time, is known as static binding. While linking is delayed till runtime are done during the execution of the program, then this type of linking is called dynamic binding. Which function will be called in response to a function call is find out when program executes. Dynamic binding is also known as late binding. Let's take a look at static binding versus dynamic binding. Static binding is also known as early binding. Dynamic binding is called as a late binding. Static binding happens at compile time, whereas dynamic binding happens at runtime. Operator overloading, function overloading are static bindings. Overriding methods are dynamic binding. Static binding can take place using normal functions, type checking, whereas dynamic binding can be achieved using virtual functions, overriding functions, dynamic method invocation, precisely we can call it. If we look at this example, which demonstrated in simple way how static binding works. We said that static binding means a compilation time, right? We have a class and then we have a method which have a parameters. Now we know what parameters, the order in which the parameters has to be passed to the method, right? In the main program, we create an instance of the class and then we are invoking a method by passing a parameters to it. This is known as a compile time binding or static binding. If you look at a dynamic binding in the runtime, based of user input, you can see whether you are hitting the button to go home or to change the value, right? This type of binding is known as a dynamic binding implementation within the program. Isn't it a good concept?
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on the bell icon and please leave the comment. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to the upcoming sessions.